आगे भी जाने न तू, पीछे भी जाने न तू, जो भी है बस यही एक पल है। Hello and welcome. This is one of my favorite songs, and it tells us that we know nothing of our future, and there is nothing in our past that we can truly control anymore. All that we have is this moment. Whether you believe in religious scriptures that give you the same knowledge, whether you are inspired as I am by a song, whether you follow the spiritual teachings brought to us by books and channels, the message is the same. There is only the now. This is the root of mindfulness, being in this moment, not allowing this moment to pass you by without squeezing every bit of energy from this moment. I have been asked a few times by some clients, why do you lay so much stress, upon living in the moment? And in any case, am I not living in the moment? I am here with you. Does that not mean that I am in this moment? Where else am I? My mind is here, my thoughts are here, my brain is here, my body is here. Your physical presence does not define whether you are in the moment or not. You are not alone if you often find yourself living in the past, or you find yourself getting anxious about the future. We all make these journeys from time to time, but we need to bring ourselves back to this moment. And why is this moment so important? Because if you desire to create something of your life, if you desire to be something in your life, if you desire to enjoy something in your life, you have only the present which is available to you for this creation. If I dwell in the past, over which I have no more control, how will I create anything that is of value to me? In fact, unknown to me, I might create a repetition of the past. Because we must always remember where our focus is where our energy creates the strongest. If I remain in the past where I am thinking about the words that have been said to me or the words that I have said, or if I am trapped in the memories of actions, of situations, the energy of that past becomes so strong because of my constant focus upon it that my present and my future will see replications. And this is how and why we create patterns in our lives which are so often detrimental for us. If I am constantly anxious about the future, or I am constantly living in a dream state, losing myself in a fantasy future, I shall not be able to create steadiness, stability, groundedness, and balance in my present. My life shall come and go without any meaningfulness. The anxiety that I live in for a future that has not even knocked at my door yet shall replicate itself in my present. Ups and downs are a part of life. Haven't we sometimes spent wonderful days of holiday and vacation in certain cities, countrysides that have steep hills that we climb up and climb down from? And we enjoy that. We enjoy that because we are in that moment. And even though the uphill climb might find us panting and a bit exhausted, there is such a sense of attainment and fulfillment. And even though the downward slope might find us almost believing that we are going to tumble down any moment, there is a laughter and a delight as we race down because we are living in the moment. When we live in the moment, there are two things that happen simultaneously and almost miraculously. One is that at most times, fear vanishes. Because when I am mindful and living in this moment, I see the moment for everything that it has to offer. even if that moment has something unpleasant, I can simultaneously become very clearly aware that this moment also has strengths and opportunities for me. And I use those strengths and opportunities to overcome the unpleasantness. And thus there is no fear. But when I live in the future, because the future is still not here, there are no strengths and opportunities that I can see. And my mind is filled only with apprehensive thoughts that perpetuate and build up on anxiety. The other thing that happens when we live in the present is a sense of wonder and awe in ourselves. A wonder that, wow, how did I manage to create this in my life? What did I do? How did this happen for me? It happened for you because you lived in that moment. When you live in the past, you are so entrapped by events that have already come and gone. You are constantly attempting to revive an energy that is long dead. Sometimes this energy that we attempt to revive is a happy energy, but it is a happy energy of the past. It was. It no longer is. And sometimes this energy is a sad, almost unforgiving energy. But because we are focusing so much upon it, we do not even realize that that energy has actually disappeared. We keep it alive with our focus, with our attention. We are scared to let it go because the past is something that we know. There is a cliched saying, better a known devil than an unknown one. And this is how we live in the past. Even if the past is unpleasant, we live in it because it is known and it is familiar. And we are scared to take a risk and experience something that we are yet to know. And my response to that is, there are two options when you take a risk. You might fail, and that's 50%. Or you might win, and that is also 50%. But when I live in the past, there is 0% chance of winning in the present. So even if I am scared, even if I am concerned about that 50% risk of failing, I am still way ahead because I now have a 50% chance of victory versus a 0% chance. But for that, I must find within me the courage to live in the present, the courage to shut doors behind me, the courage to acknowledge that in my hands lies the power and the ability to open new doors. And these new doors are not going to open in the future, they are going to open now, because I am going to take the actions now and open the door. How can we live in the now? One of the ways to train ourselves to live in the now is to pay attention. Look around you in the room where you are now, and very slowly go around that room, paying attention to the color of the walls, to the texture, to cracks, to patches, to the furniture, the color of the tapestry, the feel of the tapestry, the sounds in the room, the smells in the room. You will realize that there is so much of information that your mind deletes. You're not aware of what is around you all the time because you live in the past or in the future. And the very little bit that you live in this now gives you such a narrow bandwidth of attention that you might see only 2 things out of the 10 objects lying before you. And one of those objects that your mind has deleted from your observation might be exactly what you need to make that change in your life that you are seeking. If you desire a 0% deletion, or as close to 0 as we can get, you shall have to train yourself to live in the present and start with attention. A simple exercise like the one I just described, done every day consistently, or maybe even a few times in the day, will train your mind to become aware of the present environment. And that is step 1. When you have done this, you go to step 2. When you are talking and when someone is talking to you, be acutely tuned into every word, acutely tuned into the tone. You might actually believe that you are hearing everything that you say and everything that someone tells you, but in fact, you are not. Because a large part of your mind is still concentrating on either the past or the future. And you are hearing very, very few of the words. And when you hear the words, your mind is already deleting something that you have heard. So when someone tells you that you've been told about a certain situation, you emphatically deny that and you say, no, I don't have any recollection of you telling me this. You are not lying. You do not have the recollection because your mind has deleted that. When you read, instead of reading several pages at a time, train yourself now to read only one paragraph at a time, but spend a little longer at each word. Take each word in. These are the practical ways of training yourself to be in the present. When you've done this enough, living in the present in a more meaningful manner will become very easy for you. Of course, it is true that sometimes we are overwhelmed by the feelings or by a certain situation and we get anxious or we regret. That is part of our humanness. But it is also part of our humanness to move away from situations that we know for a fact are detrimental for us. So you can choose to be a victim and remain a victim in the anxiety about the future. You can choose to be a victim and remain a victim in the past. Or you can choose to be a victor and remain a victor and live the life of a victor in the present. Big hug to you. All my love.